Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm going to present to you some of the reasons why the bottom is almost certainly in for the entire market, and whether we expect a little bit more volatility, which means that ups and downs, or should we say downs and ups. The lows are almost likely certainly been printed in my opinion, and this is why I was buying altcoins last week, and I'm looking to perhaps maybe even top up on the next leg down. For altcoins specifically, my Bitcoin buy order was already put in at 40,600, and now basically we're looking for some extreme fun to begin. Now it's not going to happen immediately, but let me present this to you now. So this is the total market cap including Bitcoin, so everything all lumped into the entire market cap. So we can see on here that we basically went parabolic, came down to touch the 50 exponential moving average on the weekly. That's where it bottomed, it did a double bottom and then continued on. We found a new peak of just about 3 trillion, and then we came down last week. Again, this is a weekly candle due to close tomorrow. It's slightly in the green at the moment, but 2 weeks in a row touching the 50 exponential moving average. Now, you don't need me to show you. You can see with your own eyes what's the relevance of this 50 exponential. Well, first of all, 50 exponentials is extremely strong on weeklies. They generally do mark the strength or the weakness. If we break down below here, then we can entertain bear markets. Well, I'm pretty confident that the bear market's not in. I'll show you on Bitcoin why, but this I thought I'd show you first because it's a bit more of a compelling argument. We've got the conversion baseline crossed here exactly. This was a continuation on a weekly. We've not got that cross gone negative. We don't have the cheeky spend touch price action, so that's still in play. We've come down to an extremely significant support where we had an extremely good reaction last time. And again, we're talking market cap here. So market caps are enormous, and this market cap rallied from the last time it touched it to 156% from the last time that it was touched over here. Massive rally. Again, that's 165 or 150 something percent for the market cap of all crypto combined, which means that some altcoins out there, some lucky little altcoins with good setups and good fundamentals, are the ones that are going to be rallying the 10, 20, 100 X's on the next rally up, which could be beginning now. Like I say, from marking this particular low, it could already have started. This is why we've been pinpointing certain setups versus their Bitcoin pairs to work out who's strong and who's weak. Speaking of that, we'll just have a quick look at ICP here, just as an example. There's going to be many examples of altcoins which are basically outperforming Bitcoin. This is one of them. The mid-December lows were printed here, so that's where ICP found its bottom. If you bought ICP or you bought Bitcoin here, the person who bought ICP would have rallied up massively. So if you put one Bitcoin, if you exchanged your Bitcoin for ICP down here, even at today's value, you're going to have 1.7 Bitcoin as a result of that in a 27-day period. At its last peak, you would have had 1.97 Bitcoins just for swapping one Bitcoin for as many ICP. What a great trade in a coin which is swamped with bad publicity and scam this, scam that, don't trust it, don't trust that. Doesn't really matter. The signs and secrets are hidden within the sats here, and this is an uptrend versus Bitcoin, one that's done very well for those who bit the bullet and took that signal. And again, this was generated on signals. The bottom was in, and then signals were generated, and we are brewing a signal right now. So I won't bore you to death with this. I'll make videos on ICP later, but we are brewing another signal for it here. Another little micro cap here, a tiny little one. What we've got going here. This hasn't generally been affected by the overall market. This is OMI on Gate.io. It's not really having any kind of problem. It's just doing its own thing. This is such a small cap coin that this is one of the front runners of one of the coins which could absolutely go crazy when the market continues to recover. And at the moment, we are literally scraping the lows. We are not going into a bear market from what we can see on that. What we see is a continuation of a long-term uptrend that has not yet been cancelled out and is only bouncing from a historical support on this 50 exponential moving average. And again, the last time we tagged it was an enormous rally up. I think that we're going to do the same again. So with Bitcoin, what we're looking at here is we're looking at an accumulation range. And again, something we've talked about before we dropped into it, as we dropped into it, and we continue to speak of now. We dropped from here, and I said, look, we're likely to get something like this, not based on the chart, but based on this new variant, the Megatron virus that's just come out. You're going to have a panic sell like the one we had in March, and then we're going to establish a new range. I believe $40,000 to be a very strong support. and I would see that 49,500 would be kind of like a resistance, and so we're likely to play within this range. This will be our accumulation range, and that seems to be so far what's going on. It might not be going down to the bottom and up to the top. I think this is what's confused people. It gave like some strength, which is good for it in the long run, really, because this has showed that there's a lot of buyers willing to buy at higher levels. Unfortunately, the overall range was tested of 40,000, and this is what's upset a lot of people and made people think that we're entering a bear market. We've got these death crosses over here, but again, we had death crosses over this side over here, more or less marking the lows. We had our exponential death cross here, 2 days after marking the absolute low, so absolute non-event. The best thing anyone could have asked for is if they've gone into a short here on this death cross at this level here, then you'd basically be absolutely wrecked. You'd be absolutely wrecked. It wouldn't have worked. The best thing you could have asked for is to have got your money back, because the general low had been put in here. Anyway, death crosses kind of obsolete. Range appearing to continue with the way that we expect it, and what we're looking for is a sideways Bitcoin, and probably altcoins having their moment of glory while Bitcoin is being boring within this range, and working its way out before it itself goes up in value back up to its all-time highs and beyond. So there is one other thing that I suppose people are going to be considering, which is, what about the Dixie? Everyone's talking about the Dixie, tapering this, tapering that, taper. Well, I would say that the tapering, has largely been priced in. Given that we were talking about tapering months ago, I know now it's like everybody likes to talk about the tapering, and everybody's following the Fed and whatever it is that they're doing, which is still relevant. Again, we have been doing it on this channel for what feels like years. We've always talked about the dollar. But we've been watching the dollar increase. I've been telling people that the likelihood is that the dollar is going to increase into this year. I was talking about that months ago, based on the chart. The chart wants that. So the dollar has dumped and the dollar is getting picked up. There's nothing changed with the dollar. They're not going to speed up tapering. They've already speeded it up already. It's already priced in. And when people talk about, the dollar going up basically means Bitcoin will go down, well, that's not the case. I mean, it has an impact. Crypto dollars, being stable coins, are dollars, and so a stronger dollar means less purchasing power for more purchasing power, but the price of Bitcoin, which is being traded mostly with dollars, it will struggle. It won't be the same. It won't be the same as a decreasing dollar, basically, given the impression that a Bitcoin is worth more. It'll do the opposite, but it doesn't mean it can't rally. Let me take you back to the beginning of the bull market, which began roughly, it really picked up in around it was about April 2019 is where the big rally really started. Let's have a look. So that was here. So what do we see during this period? We had a massive rally for Bitcoin. Let's have a look at the Bitcoin chart and we'll work out what exactly went on. Again, it doesn't look very big when we look at it on this scale. If we go back in time, it kind of was pretty big, because I remember it. I was there. So here we go. So we've got April the 1st is when the bull run really started to pick up an enormous amount of pace. We rallied, an enormous amount in a very short space of time. 89 days, 243%. And what happened with the dollar during that period? Well, actually, it went up, and it continued to go up on a weekly basis. There was some pullbacks down and some more rises up and some pullbacks down, but generally it had been in an uptrend, and it continued to be in an uptrend while Bitcoin was going in its uptrend. So, and it's interesting to recognize that even at the peak of this current rally that's taken place, the absolute peak bringing us over to this level here, we were still higher than this back in the day when Bitcoin began its overall bull market rally in 2019. So the dollar does have an effect, but it's not everything. It's just something to recognize. And because we've been watching this going up and up and up and up and up since, I suppose, it feels like at least 3 or 4 months ago when we established that this was in an uptrend, look, it's not going to go all the way up to the moon. The majority of this trend, believe it or not, is already done. We will bounce from here. We will probably go up to 97 and maybe even beyond that, but we will not reclaim these astronomical highs over here. These will not be. This is its peak over here at best, if not this already. The trend, I believe, the majority of this uptrend has already taken place, and what we'll see is a bit more of a slow grind of the price as we approach these levels, and if we get above them, it'll be a slow grind, and then maybe it'll start to tail off after then. It's not the be-all and end-all when we talk about the dollar. And everyone seems to be talking about the dollar now like it's like something they've only just discovered. We've been talking about it for a long time, and I believe that despite everyone talking about tapering and the inflation or this lot and the other, the majority of the price action has taken place. By the time it reaches everybody's news feed, the majority of that is over. This is what I've been saying. We've been talking about that dollar increase, and we've been talking about the effects of what that will have on Bitcoin, and we've been talking about it for a long time. I think it's almost time to start putting all of that to bed and just allowing for the price action on the Bitcoin chart to carry on. I don't think the bear market is going to happen. I think we're going to grind out this area, maybe for a month or two, and then we will work our way out. But given the way that the overall market cap looks, which looks pretty good, this is why I've been scaling into altcoins around these levels. I think we're about to start to creep our way back up, regardless of what the Dixie's doing, regardless of what anything else is doing. The charts are speaking to us here. They're telling us by these bottoms, we are going to go up. We're going to surpass the 3 trillion, and we're going to go on to maybe 4 or 5 trillion on the next big run, which should probably happen sort of towards the middle of this year. I would say we'll be looking to approach our previous levels and beyond. And you can only imagine what that'll do to some of our favourite wrecked altcoins. Now, I've only got a list of a few of them here because these are the ones I've been talking about recently. But we've already got some that are already significantly in uptrends versus Bitcoin in the last month, and only going to gain more strength as the signals grow and confirm over longer term time frames. And we've got other things that are extremely low cap that don't seem to be phased in any way, just carrying on doing their normal thing. We've got other coins which basically have only got stronger fundamentals than they had previously, and are basically coming down to extremely low lows. There's so much opportunity, honestly. But it's not for me to tell you what to buy or when to buy it. I'm telling you what I've bought and why I've bought it and where I see this market going. And when you hear the words bear market, it's getting a bit tiring. To be honest with you, it's getting a bit tiring. I honestly don't see this bear market being what everyone thinks it's going to be. They're referring to things that have already taken place, and basically old news for this channel, old news for me, old news for this channel, because people are only now just waking up to the idea that things aren't, that they are correlated to a common denominator being the value of a dollar. That is it. When people look at things like the Nasdaq and the Dow Jones and go, well, they're going down, so Bitcoin must go down with it. That's not really why you see a correlation. If anything, the correlation is with the value of the dollar, and there is a cut-off point with what anything can be correlated to. Everything crypto could be seen as a store of value, really, because it's based around Bitcoin. And so when there's need to draw upon that store of value, Bitcoin will go down. So if stocks generally come down, if they start crashing, then you would expect Bitcoin to crash with it, as people basically try to hedge against their losses by taking out their bitcoins, cashing in their Bitcoin. They want to be safe. There is correlation in the market, but it's not as black and white as other people will lead you to believe. It will go into its next uptrend, and I believe that the lows are already formed for most things, if not everything, and that the upside is only going to take place from pretty much now on. Now, it doesn't mean that we can't have up and down days. We're going to have that. We're talking about Bitcoin being in an accumulation range, which means that we could basically go up, down, up, down, up, down, but generally sideways within this range. But generally speaking, the lows are almost certainly in, and if they are going to get retested, it's just another opportunity to top up. And my topping up is now going to be done mostly with altcoins, because there's no reason to rebuy a buy order that's been set down here. I put that buy order in when I sold over here, or limited my exposure over here. So selling here before the dump, buying back here before the move up, is all planned. So the next thing I'm going to look at to do is to find charts which look and represent things similar to the ICP chart. I know that people go, well, what's so special about ICP? This is what's special about it. It's not that ICP is going to take over the world. It's not that ICP is going to outperform Bitcoin for the rest of its life. It's that it has outperformed Bitcoin since its lows were put in a few weeks ago. This is the sort of thing that we'd be looking for. More and more and more of these. This is what it's all about. These things. This is what we want. This is where we're going to go. This is what we do. So I'll leave it with you there. Hopefully that has instilled a little bit more faith in the crypto market for you. And if you don't understand it, that's fine. You can join the Telegram. I've got a Patreon. I do live streams twice a week, doing it again tonight. And you can join up for that. But like I say, it's not. There's many components that go into creating a green candle. And of course, traditional markets are one of those components. But because the main drive down into these lower areas for Bitcoin was anything other than the chart, it was to do with that variant coming out and people selling off, panic selling. That's why I added extra faith in the reason why we're already in an oversold zone and that the $40,000 area is basically the bottom. And the bottom for Bitcoin is the bottom for the market. And retailers aren't so keen on Bitcoin as they are with altcoins. You've got to move with the masses. Everybody wants an altcoin. Nobody particularly wants a Bitcoin at this price. Only the people who know the score, which is that Bitcoin is the only asset that generally holds its value in the long term, will want Bitcoin. But for the short term and for the bigger gains, of course, altcoins are there. But don't forget that Bitcoin is the king. Bitcoin will overtake everything, generally speaking, almost every single time. Anyway, I'm going to leave you there then. And thank you for watching. Hope you have a nice day and take it easy.